Hope you're not
Hello.
tired of us. It's going to be a good
We're
one.
it is, because drum roll, it is
Brr.
episode 50.
Woohoo!
I
That's
can't believe
crazy.
it. It is. It took us a little trek to get here, but we made it. We have arrived.
A lot has happened in 50 episodes.
It has. It really has. Well, first we will introduce ourselves.
Hmm.
In case you are new here and you're joining us on episode 50, that means you have a lot of stuff you can binge and get to know us even better. But I am Clari,
And I'm Kristi.
and this
And this
is
is Dear
Dear Primas.
Primas.
So,
Woohoo!
shout out to the Primas who've been there since episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you haven't, hello. Thank you for
Welcome.
being here and stopping by to
Yes.
check in on us every so often. We appreciate it.
We love spending time with you.
Yes, yes. I think the way we're going to start this episode is just a little reflection on where
Mm-hmm.
we were when we first started to where we are now, and just, just talking about all of those things that, yeah, just bear with us because I think we're thinking about we didn't exactly plan this part, but we're going to be reflecting back on some of the episodes we made, where our mindsets have been. This is going to be probably a little bit more mom heavy, mom
Yeah.
intent,
The season that we're in.
the season that we're in. And I think that a lot of, like we always say, a lot of our primas are in that similar season in one of
Mhm.
those parts of life. But I think for them, like the feedback that we consistently get is from our primas that are moms. And
Yep.
so,
Yep.
you know, we're here. We're here
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Welcome. And we hope you stay.
Yeah. Oh my God. So when we first started the pod, where were you? Let's talk about just
Uh,
mother-wise in do you remember?
that would have been Bella was already born, right? Because we
Yes,
started
Bella
in
was
April,
born.
September. So we were both like
You were like
fresh.
7 months postpartum, I think, or something like
Yes,
that. Or
yes.
I was 7. You were a little bit behind. I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah,
I think I was 7 months postpartum, so you were like 4-ish.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, or 5. But yeah, but you already had your 2, but
yeah.
you were in the thick of postpartum. So was I with my
Mhm,
first.
mhm.
I think I was just starting to figure it out. I had somewhat established a routine, and I feel like at where I was in motherhood, I think I did take on a few clients right after Antonio. I think I had 2 to 3.
Yep, yep,
I started off like that, and then I think everything naturally slowed down with the market, but then I also just decided, I think, to use that kind of as an excuse to
yep.
just be in motherhood. Like, my brain just shifted to where I was just like, I don't know, this is where I want to be. This is what
Mhm,
my main
mhm.
focus is, where I want it to be. And Adrian, supported that, and he also loved that, I think, and
Embraced him.
we wanted to be, we didn't want to, if we didn't have to, we didn't want to put him into daycare. That was like our family decision. And
Yep,
then, and if I wanted, of course, because
right.
that task was going to fall on me, and I was, we were on the same page when it came to that. And so I think, becoming a mom and then diving deep and just running with, the whole stay-at-home mom per se, like, that's where I was. I think that's just, and I feel like, because I guess I had a career before, like when I was in education for so
Mhm.
long and I made the shift, like I had already not done that, but I was in that, and then I became a mom. It
Right.
wasn't like it was happening simultaneously.
Yep,
Like, I
yep,
had X amount of years, right, to dedicate
right,
to what I was doing. And then
right.
so when this happened, I'm like, I don't know, my brain just went into mommy mode, and
Mhm, mhm.
kind of has been there since. Yeah. And so for you, so now I want you to talk, a little bit about.
I think with the first, right, it was kind of like survival mode, just figuring out how to do things, how to go about life with now a baby, one. And then two, the second one was Jaden, 2019. That was I had already stopped teaching because the thing was we were moving to Colorado. And when we moved back, I had already been licensed then for 2 years, And it wasn't like I could pause then. I had to continue, and it wasn't even like I think it was a struggling. It was always a struggle of like, this is who I am now. I had to almost say like, "Oh, I stopped teaching. So now what am I doing? Who am I now if I'm not a teacher anymore with John? Well, I'm just a mom." And then I went to Jaden and I was in real estate. So, oh, I'm a realtor now. I have to constantly keep up this like, realtor facade of, go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And it wasn't until we finally got up to, and also too, we just were kind of like accumulating the properties at that time in parallel to when Jaden was born, where I couldn't press the brakes. It didn't feel fair. And John and I both had this like come to Jesus moment. No, no, not really. We didn't have the come to Jesus moment until after Bella was coming up. But we both just in our minds thought like until we get to this point of our life, then maybe we can like push the brakes a little bit. And to us, that meant like we're not moving roots. We're not, we like where we are. We want to be where we are and stay as far like be close to things that we enjoy. Like we both enjoy going to the gym. We both being enjoy like he loves his golf. I love my hobbies of reading. Just we want to be somewhere where we both are all of that is within reach. And so that was 2019. It was kind of go, go, go. Jaden started at 6 months daycare. Then we moved up here and the pace of life for some reason out here felt like slow.
Mhm.
And it wasn't the hustle and bustle that we were constantly used to. And both of us, I think it took him a lot longer than me, but I was like, why am I doing this to myself, to us, of like rushing out the door and rushing to go to the next client? And really, we were able to turn my business into we are the client. I am the client for myself. And that's how we wanted to make it.
Mhm.
But then that turned into me wearing all of these hats where it got really too much. And John's very good about turning it off because he still works full time, has his W-2, but he also has a lot to do within our real estate
Mhm.
investment side. And it came to a point where we were just clashing all the time. And right around the point where I was just found out I was pregnant with Bella. No, 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 no. It was
Well,
before
right
I found out I
before.
was. Yeah. And I told myself I wanted to be out of real estate because I did not like how what we were turning into. And it seemed like we had family used to be here. It's always important, but it didn't, the balancing of family and work, it couldn't, like, it wasn't our
Yeah.
priority. We weren't making our family a priority. We weren't making our
Mhm.
relationship a priority. We were making work a priority. And I didn't like that. I felt like I should have I needed to tap out. He just got here. I needed to tap out and maybe he can run it and find his way about how
Yeah.
to run it. And then I got thought pregnant with Bella and I was like, oh snap, I
Yeah,
can't go
you were
back to
she was
teaching.
actively, like, going into substitutes,
Oh
like
yeah.
or,
Oh
like,
yeah.
trying to go start the process of getting back into
Oh, yeah.
teaching.
I
Yeah.
had already said I was gonna go back into it, and then I found out I was pregnant with Bella in January, and I was like, "I can't go teach and then
Mhm.
go be a teacher for 1 month and then be
Yeah.
on maternity leave. That wouldn't be fair." So then I think that really shifted into, like, I need to be present. This is my last baby, and we knew it was the last baby going into it, but now we've gone back and forth with this, like, okay, she stays home for a year, then we put her into daycare, and it only made sense for me to go back to work, but then we had already delegated my well, it's almost like I fired myself. We fired myself
Mhm.
and hired somebody for those positions that I didn't feel like I was really adding value to our business, to our family business that I thought we had built. And I came back and I was like, oh, well, everything's kind of running. Where do I fit in? Like, do I really need to be in this? How can I
Mhm. Or
fit
as
in this?
heavily involved. Yeah.
Right, right. So it was nice because I did get to be present with Bella for that full year, but then once I got back, it was like, how can I fit back into this puzzle or how can I add value? And I think that's always been the thing is where can I add value to any at the times it was clients that I was helping. I needed to feel like I needed to go above and beyond, and to go above and beyond, you had to be on the phone constantly where it was taking away time from your family, where now it's like I don't know. I just now it's more so thinking like our biggest investments are our kids.
Mhm.
It's not anything else. Yeah, sure, this business, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's our kids.
Yeah.
And I think this year more than any has really it's been made clear that we need to prioritize their education or them as a whole because we're
Mhm.
raising them in this society of just how do we know what we're doing right?
Mhm.
If we're doing
Mhm.
it right. We only know that because of how what we were taught, how we were raised, and then based off of those things, going and saying and making sure that we integrate that with our children now.
Mhm.
Who knows if we're doing it right or wrong, but I think I don't know. We just feel called this time, coming up next year to maybe look into the route of homeschooling. And I was telling Gladys, like we've thought about this for now 2 years. It just seems more of a thing that we're really leaning towards. And this is crazy to say and to think because we were both in the education space and we know, I have so much respect for any teachers and I don't doubt that this school district that we're in is amazing above and beyond. But it's like you're spending so much time with kids. They are spending so much time with kids there, and they're spending so much time with teachers there. Where now that I've gotten back into the groove of like working, how am I going to do that next year if we do want to make them a priority? And it really comes down to time management. And it really comes down to like how to prioritize my time doing the stuff that I work on a business and then making them know that they are a priority with their
Mhm.
schoolwork.
Mhm.
Did I wrap that all up and land the plane?
Mm. Yeah, I think we opened the conversation for sure. Like, I think that's part of like the shift that we were,
Yeah,
you're like not only you've probably gotten the business side to a good place, maybe not exactly where
right.
y'all want it to be, will it ever be? Like there's always room for growth and change and all the things. But I
Yeah,
feel like you said, that the priority shift is, kind of tilting a little bit. Doesn't mean that you're gonna put it completely on the back burner.
right.
But, in this right now, it's like the formative years of the kids, I think, is now you're thinking about that. We're both thinking about that. But yeah, like I've always said, the kids are at the school for 8 hours a day.
Mhm.
Kids in school are with the teachers and their classmates longer than they're with their parents. And
Yeah,
that's just
yeah,
the way it is.
yep,
And even as a teacher, I mean, as a formative teacher, you don't need to be in school. There's no need for to be in school for that long, first of all. And like we've always talked about that, like even before we have kids, now that have kids. I mean, giving the kids being fortunate enough to be
right.
able to,
What it comes down
make
to.
that decision,
Yep.
but and also confidently enough that at least we have a background in teaching too, like
Mhm.
we now teaching your own kids, of course we know that comes with its
Yep,
challenges and the grade
yep,
levels, but we have that background that if we did want to take that route, if you want to take that route, we wouldn't be starting from ground zero. We kind of know how to make that work. But for instance, like getting those life experiences with your kids and having more time to do that,
mhm.
because kids learn a lot in the real world, like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
exposure to the real world, to traveling, to having certain experiences,
yeah,
that says a lot. And
yep,
I think that even as an adult, as like you want work life balance is a thing, and I think that's kind of like where we've always been. And maybe like, like you said, y'all's minds are starting to shift to that place because the traditional 9 to 5, the
yes.
traditional
Mhm.
schooling is a certain way, and it's to help out those who do need that, during when kids are school age. Yeah, it's a free childcare. Yes,
Yep,
it's
yep,
school, but I mean, and you started seeing it when you were there, and I was starting to see it. Like and this again, not knocking like educators, but even teachers themselves
right,
have a big issue with how things are run because it's
absolutely.
a lot is out of their
Out
control.
of their hands. Yep,
Yes. So they push project-based learning. They push cooperative learning. They push let's work together as collaboration. But then it all comes down to this one test that they take at the end of the year to
mm,
determine the quality of education these kids received. Where how are you telling us as teachers every day to implement collaboration, but when they take the state test, they're not collaborating.
whatsoever.
You
Yeah,
know, like, it's ass backwards, it's backwards, and it's also yeah, like, the teachings of the real world exposure, talking to people and seeing and learning different things, like, again, understanding that we're fortunate to be able to even contemplate that or, we didn't grow
right.
up that way, but I don't know, it's just a big shift, I think, after COVID that a lot of people
Yes.
also had because we had that freedom. We were seeing what kids were doing at home and
Mhm.
the time, everything when it comes down to it, I think it's is being able to have that time, that quality time with your kids and,
Yes.
just trying to and that's to say it doesn't have to be like until they go to high school, but
Right. Right.
being able to have that luxury of getting to do things on your own time, getting it done and still teaching them and, being civilized beings because they do learn a lot at school and they're exposed to a lot more now and it's a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, so it took a lot of John doing the convincing to me where he did his research and I also have to like sit with it and then do my own research and come back and be
Mhm.
like, look, this is what I have an issue with. This is what I think that they would, miss out on. And and he was like, look, at the end of the day, we just wipe your mind clean of what you were like, what you know of public school versus private school versus homeschooling. Wipe your mind clean of it all. And he was like, if somebody came up to you and you know nothing about any of the three, and somebody just said like, "Hey, you're gonna send your three children to go sit in a place," which now like it's so sit in a school for 8 plus hours. Do you even do that on your work schedule? Like he was like,
Mhm.
it just seems silly and backwards. Whereas now I'm thinking about like, well, shit, maybe I need to take Bella out of daycare
Mm, yeah.
because I'm doing that to her. Like it sounds crazy to think like, oh yeah, she goes to school from 8:34 whenever I pick up the boys. That sounds crazy. So now I'm like, well, when do we pull her out? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I do want that time with her too. And it almost feels like I'm going 10 steps backwards, but I shouldn't. I have to shift my mindset and
Mhm.
reprogram my thinking on like, no, I'm not going backwards just because my priority is my children.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's when we decided to get married and have children, like that's what we talked about making sure that we make it a priority is raising our
Mhm.
children.
Yeah.
Who better to do it than you and your spouse? Like
Yeah, and that's how and I think at the beginning, like, even uttering the word stay-at-home mom, it's like
it
it
has
comes with
this
a
like
sense of
stigma.
shame and
Yes,
stigma.
yes.
Yeah, like, I'm just and it's like, "No, you're not," and honestly, the only person that opinion that matters is my husband's, your
Right.
husband's, right? Which he literally tells people it's, like, the hardest job,
Yep. Yep.
it's hard staying, you never come out of it. It's a constant thing, but, yeah, like you said, they're our biggest investments, and we want to be there for them, and you want to, like, grow them into
Yep.
good humans that we want them to be,
Yep.
um, and yeah, I think in a sense it's kind of getting your mind to shift out of like that thought of like how am I going to be perceived or
Mhm,
like
mm.
what am I contributing, which you're contributing now a lot, but it did
Right.
take time to get there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then because it's like, for example, whenever Jaden was born, it was like, well, he's not going to remember me not being here. I'll be fine. Like I can hustle and bustle until he gets to the age. Well, now he's at the age where they know if you don't go to their practice or they know if you don't make it to their baseball games. And it's like, what am I going to still work until they're, and am I gonna the work of being in real estate, which it's crazy to think like, oh yeah, you get into real estate for the flexibility, but you don't because
No.
you're at the beck and call of your client, and your client determines if
Yes.
you get an income or not, and that income is dependent on that client, and that client can go and buy a car the day before closing, and your income is wiped for the next
Mhm.
2 months because you've been relying on that one source of income, whereas and that client is not going to say like, "Oh, okay, I won't go see these 3 houses because your son has a game." Sure,
Exactly, and that's what I was gonna say, like,
that's
especially working with the residential, that's, like, the
absolutely.
prime hours are when your kids are off of school.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
weekends, it's
The
the
dinner
after
time,
after dinner
yep,
time exactly, when these people are off of work, because 'cause you're like you said, you're at the beck and call of them, and that's a big thing, so even though it's flexible maybe during the week to go to certain school events, but it's, like, the extracurriculars and that time the weekends and the amount of time spent on your phone and the computer it
yep.
all adds up, and it's never ending too. It's
No.
all the time, it's all day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, it is flexible in a sense of it's not traditional 9 to 5 that you're at a brick and mortar, but, it's you're on call pretty much
right,
24/7. Everything
right.
it doesn't stop. But yeah, and I think that mind shift, like, it just goes to show that people change. Like, ever your mind like, it's not only, like, where you are in your lifetime, but sometimes you have that aha moment or that click
Mhm.
or, and you
Mhm.
know what I think is so crazy for this to have come from John, who people that don't know him, he is like the most my job. Like he function the way he functions is with
Yeah.
routine and
Yep. Yep.
and his job is like on not above everything else, but like he's there all the time. Nothing's gonna hold him back.
Yeah.
Weren't y'all in Miami once? But he's like, y'all's flight got canceled because of weather, and he's like, I'm driving. I gotta get
Yeah.
back. Like,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
brain is just always like focused on that, which is
Yes.
not a
Yes.
bad thing, but it's just like that's how his brain is hardwired. But for him to have that, like, wait a minute, do I
Yep.
want this for my kids right now? As like, like I think that
Yeah.
says a lot.
Well, and you know what, too, like, I think, based off of how we were both brought up and how we both, our upbringings where we both, were not raised in the most like, for example, he was a single mom and, how he was brought up to think, like, I'd have to provide for my family, like, that's my
Hmm.
main so that's, I think, why he's so hardwired the way he is, where he doesn't believe in vacations. It took him
Yeah,
a long time to be like, "Oh, okay, vacation mode."
yeah.
AKA 3 days,
We're
and I'm
still working on
like,
it.
we're working,
Yeah,
there's no such thing, but it's because of how he was brought up, and he's still like, I think that the thing with, if we do take that route where he's like, "Okay, they're gonna learn discipline, they're gonna learn the time management," and I mean, hell, I'm still learning the time
yeah,
management,
yeah.
like, we're
Same.
all giving ourselves, a bit of, a grace when we go
Hmm.
into it, but I constantly am thinking, like, whenever I am zoned into my mode, I'm like, I can't let, for example, like next year, if I am teaching Jaden to read and write, and I know that those aren't his strong suits, like John will do math all day long, but he hates writing. I can't get frustrated. I can't feel like I'm like, well, how can't you do this? I need to get to work. I don't want that pressure on me. I don't want that pressure on him because it just doesn't take for a healthy environment, a
Hmm.
learning environment. I don't want it to feel like that next year. So it's a learning it's going to be a process for all of us.
For sure, for sure. Along with everything else, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think but I do think, like, the pros outweigh the cons, but yeah, a lot of it is gonna fall on your plate, and so you do have to get mentally ready for that, but I think weighing it out and I mean, the research has shown that homeschool kids do the best later on in
Hi,
life.
yeah.
The research has shown that they perform the best, like, later in life, in college, like, all the things, if done correctly, of course.
Right, right.
And I think there's no harm in trying it. I think, giving and not taking it as a loss immediately if it's not going the way that, you think it should be
Exactly.
going, and
Right,
it's a learning curve, and I think giving it the fair chance is all you can do. Not saying that there's a right or wrong,
right, right.
but all that to be said is like in our 50 episodes, we've come, like we're just continuing to
Yeah.
evolve. And I think sharing those experiences with you guys and you guys seeing where we are, like I've had a whole nother kid since he's 8 months, wild. I'm in a new state, like all the things that y'all
We
seen us
didn't.
go through. Yeah. And that we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
anticipate. Like, I
yeah.
mean, or you couldn't see. And I think that's the nice part about our podcast is
The
like,
beauty of it, for sure.
yeah, yeah, like we're sharing these experiences with you guys, but then also just kind of like for us to look back at. And I think I haven't watched one of our old episodes in a while, but I would think I would like to, go back and see a few.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
I think
hopefully.
it comes down to all about being in any experience that you experience. It does you have the moments of, like, loneliness, and you have the moments of, like, am I doing things that, resonate with what my family would suggest? And, like, of
Mhm.
course not, because everybody has an opinion. And
Mhm.
I think it's helpful always whenever you are open to sharing those opinions. You're very vulnerable whenever you do share those opinions and you share, your experience, but it shows others that everybody deals with things a certain way, and maybe you do decide, for example, you want to go into real estate, and then you actually don't know what you're doing, and then you realize, like, oh, she didn't know what she was doing, and you know it's all like, who knows what happens in time.
Yeah.
And I don't either. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I'm always all over the place with every for example, episode 1, I was like, "No, she's not going to daycare." Episode 10, she went to daycare, and we were
Mhm.
excited. Episode 50, she's going to come out of daycare.
Yeah, it was like she went in for, like, 2 weeks at 4 months. "Alright, we gotta get her back." Poor Bella.
Yes.
And then
Mm,
and then she was like, "Alright, you're a year old, let's go." And now you're like,
yeah.
"Okay, she's 2, maybe
And then I'm
not,
getting
come
upset
back."
because she's losing her shit, and whenever I drop her off at a year old, because now she's
Yeah.
telling me, like, "I hate it." No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
no, it's just hilarious to see
Yeah,
literally the
yeah.
chaos of it, right?
But I did have a prima reach out to me, like, she just had her 2nd baby. Her first is school age, 7, I think 7 or 8 or 7 or 8. But, she has a newborn and she's, now, like she's like, "I'm gonna go into mommy mode. I'm going to, be a stay-at-home mom." And she was just like, "How like, can I talk to you about, like, the mental part of it and how you stay sane?" And also, like, thinking about yeah, like, what are you contributing? Like, going through
Yeah.
all the processes of
Mhm, mhm.
grieving,
The
the
feelings, yep.
old,
Yeah,
career
yeah,
corporate woman and all the things that so I think, like, again, like we say, that's the part of this that's so nice is, like, we do receive sometimes those messages on the side, and so I think us
mhm,
being open and talking about certain things open certain doors
mhm.
for people to, one, relate to and also think about, and feel free to reach out to us about certain thoughts that they're having on certain topics, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, just that community, and I think we've done a good job at that and
yeah,
building
yeah,
that with our fellow primas and
yeah,
hopefully
and,
just
like, the
keep it
beauty like
going.
we said before too, is we're so different in the season that we are in, like, with the ages of the littles and the ages of, like, just the experiences that we're having
Mhm.
is I feel like it all just all comes together.
Mhm, mhm. For sure. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Was there anything else for I think we've kind of
Yeah. Biggest takeaway is acknowledging the hard and celebrate the growth, even if the
yeah.
growth is teeny tiny. And even if the growth takes you back to, square one.
Yeah, yeah, I think we're ever evolving, and that doesn't mean that we're not just it's not, like, linear, it can come back
Yes.
around, and
Yeah.
I think, like you said in a previous episode that we recorded, was just, accepting the change, or what was it? I don't remember, something about the change.
That you're embracing the change?
Embracing the change.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
your 2026
yeah,
motto.
on all aspects. So, yeah, yeah, but thank y'all for being here, primas,
Yeah.
and if you're a new prima, let us know. Feel free to share us with new primas 2026, we're
Mhm,
going to
mhm.
be there.
Yeah.
I'm
This
taking
is
it
for
to
all the
the
primas. Take it, listen, let us know your thoughts. We're gonna all take a breath together.
For sure. And if you are homeschooling prima, what's your experience
Oh,
with
yes.
it?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
And, how's
I'm
that
an
going for
audio girly,
y'all?
so of course I've already listened to a few podcasts about it, but if you have some recommendations, I know another prima shared this book, Hold On to Your Kids,
Mhm.
and then another one, but yes, share,
Yeah.
share primas.
Share
Send
your
Rex.
send it. Send it, talk to us, let us know. Let us know if there is anything else that you want to see from us, any questions that you have as
Yeah. Yeah.
always.
Mhm.
Yeah. But thank y'all.
Episode 50.
Woo! Thank y'all for being here, and
Yes.
until next time.
Adios.
Us.
Look at us on the